Jon Reyes, and thanks for joining in on the Authority Marketing Blueprint. Sit back, relax, and grab your virtual seat, because in this episode and every other episode, I'll be interviewing and collaborating with another high-level marketing and copywriting expert. If you haven't yet, go ahead and get some help along the way as we dish out and pinpoint some of the most profitable, powerful marketing and copywriting wisdom. Get some help with implementing everything you'll hear in this episode and other episodes by downloading my personal sales funnel swipe file stash at copyblueprints.com. Now, grab your virtual seat and listen in. We're going to do things a little differently today. Today's guest is actually yours truly, Jon Reyes, and you're about to get to learn a lot more about me within the next, there's going to be maybe a 20 or 30-minute episode, and there's just so much I have to share. And after receiving a flood of applications to work with me for one-on-one mentorship or to become an apprentice with me, this is for other copywriters, I really have been overwhelmed with so much great opportunity that I really haven't. My intention was to put together a really robust group coaching program. But until I get to that, what I really wanted to do was share a lot of value. There's so much I've created in my career that I can virtually guarantee you could become a six-figure freelancer within 12 months using some of the skills I've used, the skills I've developed very, very early on in my career, and the things that I've systematized and realized that I rose to, almost the A-list level in my niche at the time, which was influencer marketing, within about 18 months of starting as a freelancer. And I'm going to reverse engineer a very solid launch pad, if you will. Even if you're a beginner, intermediate, a way to just hop on the springboard and just skyrocket past a plateau, whether you've hit six figures and you're not that consistent, whether you're looking to get consistent at 3K, 5K, whether you're already hitting six figures, but you want to work less, or if you want the freedom to launch your own offers, create a partner with another copywriter, partner with a client, or do all of the above, you're going to learn the Launchpad skill set here. Before we get into that, if you're listening to the audio version, there is a link in the description to watch the video version of this podcast episode, which will be available on YouTube, as well as a description on how to get the slides, plus a lot more cool stuff. But for now, you're going to get to know me a little more. And like I said, there's a lot of different avenues you can take this. If you want to be more about lifestyle, if you want to be more about money, if you want to be more about clientele, if you want to learn how to be a freelance business owner, then, how much do you want to earn? How much do you want to go gross, net? But before we get into that, just to let you know, I started around 2013, 2014. I've been at the six-figure level for quite some time. And then there's the level of gross versus net. And just to let you know, some of the, CEOs I've worked with, some of the founders, presidents, 8-figure companies, one of them has been a 9-figure company founder as a client and then became almost a partner, is some of the salaries of CEOs and founders of these companies, they pay themselves maybe a 60K to about 150K. I'm talking about 7-figure companies. So when I realized that I've surpassed what a 7-8-figure company CEO would pay himself, I figured it was time to switch up the way, not just the way I ran my business, but the way I lived. And there's times where things went well, right? Business-wise, I closed ideal clients, coaching programs. I created a funnel that sold both lead magnets and paid products. And what more is there to life, right? So there's a time where I looked online. I bought a plane ticket and reserved an apartment in Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, for about 30 days straight. People from all around the world, same exact position as me, maybe you. We needed to escape. We were virtual entrepreneurs, virtual employees, people in the same boat who just wanted to explore the world and just let go of no holds barred. And it was then I just got there and decided to take 3-4 days off. And days I decided to work 1 hour, to days I decided to work 10 hours, and I decided to network, and I tried to give a speech in Colombia. And then I ended up networking with friends I made for life and other entrepreneurs who are excelling in this space. And it almost came out of nowhere. And just a glimpse of my lifestyle, I got to speak at an NBA student athlete empowerment program for basically inner city high school kids who wanted to become entrepreneurs, but didn't have the resources, who had difficulty staying out of trouble. So I got to speak at NBA Foundation. Another thing is just, exotic locations. There's a time where, being a crazy creative copywriter and just to love to analyze things during COVID, I looked at certain cities which had the lowest rate of infection. And I did 2 cross-country trips. I traveled back and forth. I traveled to cities that had the lowest rate of infection so I could be social, meet more people, explore exotic lands because we didn't know where things were going to go. I went to the wealthy valleys called Villa de Guadalupe, Mexico. Me and my friends dropped almost $2,000 on dinner, US dollars, in Mexico. I went through explore ruins through New Mexico. I went through Florida. I went through get authentic hot chicken in Louisiana, all over Arizona, all these really good things. And I decided to, hop on a plane ticket. I closed a client in Austin, Texas during this time, with my mask on and everything. And she was worth about maybe 30, 40 grand to me. About half of that was wired to me up front. And this is lifestyle. What do you want to do? How do you want to live? But that's just a quick glimpse. But today's episode is about simplifying some of the high ticket copywriting formulas I've used to help renowned marketers rise to even 7 or 8 figure levels, as well as strategies I've used to help 8-figure companies maintain dominance at the top of their industry and stay there. But part of that is developing these skills is not all about, there's clients they run amazing businesses or they have amazing products, and there's clients that might not be a great fit, and it's just, you help me, I help you, et cetera, et cetera. But the whole point is to develop these skills. And as a copywriter, if you develop these skills as a high integrity, high follow through, high quality, it's your conversion rate, it's your communication, it's your attitude. If you could get all these 3 things lined up, hey, client will pay you 3, 5, 10K and commission on the back end. Don't obsess over how long it takes. Be consistent along these things. And, there's times I beat controls by rewriting the lead and the headline, and is worth about 5K plus 5% net. And if you get to that level, if it doesn't take you that long, then don't worry about it, right? That's 3 skills of A-list or multiple six-figure part-time copywriters. Communication skills, follow through, you follow through in conversions, and also deadlines. Don't think it has to take that long. You can develop these skills quickly, but you have to be systematic. And to do that, it's moving beyond I used to call it the copywriting rat race, the copywriter's rat race, where you get caught in forums, paying programs, email copy, following different masterminds with frustrated marketers, agencies, coaches, or solopreneurs who work with fly-by-night copywriters who are jaded by the freelance copywriting world and negative attitude, or entrepreneur information marketers. Who are you going to work with, right? Entrepreneur information marketers who worked with underqualified mentors. They need good freelancers to lift them up off the ground. And there's just so much of this negativity, the copywriting rat race, whether it's a clientele that passes on a negative attitude to you, or you falling down that rabbit hole, no matter which way you go as a marketer or freelancer. What's more challenging is from the level of creation, from the level of building up your skill set. The online advertising consumer base is hitting messaging burnout faster than ever. Marketing and sales angles get played out. So if you're writing a control for yourself, for your clients, you got to stay on your toes. There's 2 times I've written back-to-back funnels for myself, front end, that converted at about 30, 40%. My ad had a click-through rates of anywhere between 3% on the front end up to 4.56%. and the back ends converted extremely well. So from front to back, my funnel was converting very powerfully. But the thing was, within a few weeks, I saw people swiping my stuff. They swiped a big idea of mine. They swiped the intro to my Facebook ad. They swiped the intro. One of them swiped the intro to my product. So like I mentioned, yesterday's sales messages are not working today. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you write for clients, yourself, or both. You have to be on top of these skills. Studies from LinkedIn, Fast Company, Insider Intelligence studies show your customers, your target market can lose interest in online ads in as fast as 1.3 seconds. And we encounter about 10,000 plus advertising messages daily. And if you're a great copywriter, you know that the same concept from Eugene Schwartz, Brilliance Breakthrough advertising, is that the essence of any great promo, the essence of some of the best marketers and copywriters in the world are the ones who actually obsess over target audience research. So your target audience can lose interest in ads as fast as 1.3 seconds, counter 10,000 plus advertising messages daily. And as a freelancer, you have to understand that in a way you are your target market. So when you're looking at copywriting or marketing courses or other products you're interested in, know that some of your clients are also have the same behavior as you. So I encourage you to spend maybe a week of being aware of how many ads you come across. How many ads do you lose interest in? Because now you're getting inside of the head of your target market. Because then when it goes time to create your client's funnel, to write your client's ad copy, you're gonna think just like they are. Now you have an experience of I actually personally lost interest in, I don't even remember. I watched, if this is spend a week doing that, you'll realize you probably watched the first 10 of a video for maybe 10 YouTube videos in a week. You've went through a bunch of ads and all of a sudden you're on Facebook scrolling on your phone, and for some reason you start to feel anxious and upset, and you realize because you've realized these ads were burning your brain out and just lost interest. These ads didn't capture your attention. So that's looking at it from both the marketer, copywriter, and consumer perspective. Before I get too deep into the lessons of copywriting and how to become a six-figure freelancer within 12 months or less, and obviously you can see how powerful these lessons have been. It's only been, a few minutes in, and you're most likely learning more than you expected. And beyond that is understanding a little bit more about who I am and why, I'm qualified to give this kind of information. So scaling back, I'm a very successful copywriter, direct response marketer, executive strategist. I penetrated influencer marketing. I did BizOp for a while, sales training, business coaching, and now I'm a huge specialist in alternative health. I also do freelance copy chiefing and copy mentorship, obviously. Within my first year, right out the gate, 2013, 2014-ish, I dominated the influencer marketing space. That was just my obsession. I'll get to that in a minute, but I became an aggressive, hungry copywriter and consultant for agencies, info marketers, high-powered coaches and consultants, and obviously through alternative health marketing. To date, I've generated a collective 8 figures in revenue for some of the biggest heavy-hitting agencies and marketers today. One of my favorite clients was a former NFL quarterback from the Buffalo Bills. Actually, I'm sorry, wasn't directly my client, but I worked with him through another client who had me work with the NFL quarterback directly. We got on a call, about a 1-hour consulting call. Towards the end, he was almost crying because I pulled out the passion of how passionate he was about being an NFL quarterback and connecting that to building his online coaching business, because he was a local NFL football coach. Then he coached high school kids. And, by the end of the call, I turned that passion. He's almost crying. And then I built out an amazing sales copy funnel. I've worked with the 85-year-old pioneer in the personal development and sales training space, one of my favorite clients as well. He started over 30 years ago. He's still around today. He's kind of the original Wolf of Wall Street. I work with a client who was partners with Damon John from Shark Tank. He was a partner with Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the list goes on and on. But what's even more interesting is how much I've learned from failed campaigns. There's other copywriters, marketers you'll come across who are afraid to, as a concept in copy. One of my first mentors, I've had some great mentors in my time. Stefan Georgi from Copy Accelerator is one of my first mentors. David Garfinkel, the world's greatest copywriting coach. Trevor Toecracker Crook, he's an A-list copywriter from Australia. Kevin Rogers with Copy Chief. One of my early on coaches was named Paul Hancock. I believe he's retired many, many years ago. But there was a term he used called damaging admission. And damaging admission means revealing your flaws up front in your copy. It's almost like dating. You get skeptical when someone portrays themselves to not have any flaws. It's shown to increase conversion rates when you admit that you have flaws as a freelancer, that you have, or limitations when you admit your client's products have flaws, because it creates that polarizing effect. The people who accept the flaws are more likely to buy and become ideal customers and clients. The people who hate the fact that you have flaws will probably be a pain to work with anyway. So I'll be one of the first to admit I've learned a lot from failed campaigns, my own and my clients' failed campaigns and other copywriters. And you've probably seen this. And if you feel discouraged, which you probably have, don't dwell on that, because this is one of the ways out, as you're seeing as we continue with this episode, aren't you? So you can't always hit home runs. It's just how our industries are. So we accept the reality of how good can you get and what is the reality. If anybody claims to hit home runs 100% of the time, the damaging admission I'm going to admit is I'll recommend you run the other way. Nobody is that good. If you want to find someone who's perfect, I'll tell you right now that you want that damaging admission. You want this coach's struggle, right? Like I mentioned, some of the best lessons I've learned were from failed campaigns. So I'll let you know, right? That's my damaging admission. The great part is I've gained so much wisdom from studying and accepting defeat of my old failed ads and campaigns. And that has been a catalyst to my consistent and ongoing success. If I'm not, maybe you're into sports or music and recording videos, sometimes your best videos, your best plays in sports, or your favorite sports team, or your favorite, if you're a singer, performing arts, some of the best performances happen when you analyze the failures. If you hate public speaking, when you record yourself and then you think, oh crap, that was such a lame video I made, that's learning from your failures. And then you become much better on the other end, don't you? It's the same with copy and the way you go about your career. So like I mentioned, I've just had a flood of applications for one-on-one copywriting mentorship, and I can only take on such a small handful at a time. If you're still interested in applying, you'll see what it's like when we'll work together. Just email me at copyblueprints@gmail.com and you'll see what it'll be like if we'll work together. And I don't always have the bandwidth, but at this phase, I'd still encourage people to shoot an email. It might take a little bit of time for me to get back, copyblueprints@gmail.com. But other than that, this is, like I mentioned, there's going to be a very huge, robust program, but I'm so OCD. I'm overwhelmed with client opportunities. It's other things in my own life, working up different info marketing businesses and more tests. But upon that, so I just wanted to give back with this episode. So like I mentioned, it's yours truly. So I just like to ask for your commitment for the next few minutes. I can't guarantee you'll see results overnight, as you'll put the training and resources to work for you, as you'll continue to listen and accept the simplified, high-level proven formulas I'm already explaining to you, and that you're already understanding, and that you already see how they can create a drastic change in your conversions, long-term ROI, and as a result, your income across the board. And last thing I was going to mention is if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, head to the link and you'll see a way to watch the YouTube episode, which also has the slides as well. And there's a cool gift in there. So this is phase 1. So there's 3 phases in what I call the high ticket copywriting playbook, is how to become a 6-figure freelancer within 12 months. The first phase, I'm going to give you the full thing in this episode. It's called marketing and messaging diagnostics. And marketing and messaging diagnostics is a skill that veteran copywriters take a lot of time to develop, 5, 6, 10 years in. Some of them still haven't hit 6 figures in freelance income yet, but to master this skill early on is going to give you an extremely competitive, razor sharp advantage. I call it messaging and marketing diagnostics because these are hidden steps for attracting a flood of ideal customers and clients. I'm going to show you a couple of pretty sick, copywriting ninja tricks to convert more price shoppers into first-time buyers and hopefully convert them into lifelong customers. Make yourself extremely competitive. First, think about the last time you felt stuck, intimidated, or confused because you didn't know how to craft a sales message. More often than not, you should spend more time on understanding, is your headline, how is it going to work? Are you sure your lead is going to work? This is usually where we experience stress, intimidation, feeling stuck, right? Of course, if you feel that way, you're not alone. And you can probably relate to this because clients come to me feeling this way, and they probably come to you feeling this way, feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and confused because they have a great product. They know their product or service is better than their competitors, but they're not doing as well as they thought they should. And they know it. Your clients trade more time for money, right? Don't they get caught in the hamster wheel of working 60 to 80 hours a week? You hear that all the time, don't you? Your clients are hitting burnout, even if they don't want to admit it. So this is where you can step in and lift them up quickly. You can get really good at solving this problem. You can become a 6-figure freelancer fast. But one of the main skills for solving this problem is mastering the big idea, the hook. If you sit down to overanalyze or stress out or rush through the lead and the headline, then you're not developing a strong skill. You're developing kind of something that'll keep you stuck in the copywriting rat race. When I had a course many, many, many years ago, which is still one of my most powerful courses. It's called the Freelance Copywriting Blueprint. And there's a term I coined in there called commodity copywriters. If you're a commodity copywriters, some people go almost 20 years into the career, still a commodity copywriter, but then that's maybe the minority of people. But if you want to go outside of a commodity copywriter, the 6-figure freelance, get there within 12 months, is to master the big idea. So to become a really great copywriter, I want to paint a picture of how I master my big idea, not just for many, many controls I've written. I've had controls still running since 2016. They've generated a collective 7 figures in revenue for my clients because upon launch, 300, 400K in revenue for them, and then they just evergreen it. Clients are still running my controls a few times per year by just evergreening it. And I've written controls in sales training, alternative health, and in personal growth. It's hard to write personal growth controls that bring in 7 figures in revenue, especially something you could evergreen for 5, 6, 7 years, and people have not beat some of mine. Anyway, going off on a tangent, but to write these controls, it was becoming a master of the big idea, to beat out long-standing controls, become a master of a big idea. A great hook can beat out a long-standing control. But here's the caveat of becoming a six-figure copywriter within 12 months is, what is your own big idea? Can you tell me in 10 to 20 words what makes you extremely powerful copywriter who dominates your industry? An example of my big idea, which I've used to have a game tight marketing, prospecting, and sales process, where I closed maybe for a long time, close to 70% of clients, and actually charged more than other veteran copywriters, actually add more commission than other veteran copywriters. And my big idea is the copywriter behind today's industry leaders. So I'm Jon Reyes, the copywriter behind today's industry leaders, the master of the big idea for me and for clients. Why am I the copywriter behind today's industry leaders? It's because I've humbly written, consulted with, and marketed alongside some of the biggest names in the coaching, consulting, agency, and alternative health, beauty industries. Many clients I've worked for many, I've helped to build multiple agencies as a freelance copy chief, ROI strategist, CRO. And they've introduced me to their clients as, this is Jon. He's helping us turn our agency into industry leading agency. He's helped the previous industry leading clients, build these campaigns. But as of today, since 2014 up until present, that single statement, the copywriter behind today's industry leaders, is also in alignment with my mission and my experience and my brand persona as a whole. And it's the same for me as a copy coach, as a copy mentor. So you can see why this big idea is powerful and appropriate. It goes back to that concept of damaging admission. The concept of the copywriter behind today's industry leaders pushes away people who aren't aligned, committed, or motivated to become a leader in their industry as a client, or a leader, industry leading copywriter. But it attracts people to me, the right people. And it does it all in 5 words. Copywriter behind today's leaders, industry leaders. Other than that, we reverse engineer what goes inside a great big idea. Marketing and selling yourself also starts with a big idea. So just dissecting, what a 5-word big idea as a copywriter to help me get to the 6-figure level very quickly and working part-time. And like I mentioned, being able to have the flexibility to partner with clients, to partner with other freelancers, to test info products, to just realize, I pay, my net income is about the same as a 7-figure CEO, right? A 7-figure CEO, how much does he pay himself after? Actually, it's a lot more than what a 7-figure CEO pays himself. What do they pay themselves? About 150K, and they work super hard. So mine is just, especially when you break it down for how much I work, my net income is extremely high ROI and a lot more than a 7-figure CEO salary. But it started, like I mentioned, with mastering the big ideas. The copywriter behind today's industry leaders implies I've been a driving force behind several industry-leading companies. It attracts other industry-leading, aggressive, driven companies and entrepreneurs to me. It shows I'm one of the few who has the skills to do it all. And this is not about me shooting my horn for an entire podcast episode, but you're going to see in a second exactly how this applies to you and how to use it for your own marketing and how this trickles in to your client fulfillment. Because when you get in the habit of creating big ideas like this and to do it naturally, then you're supercharging every single aspect of your copy. And to supercharge every single aspect of your copy, starting with a big idea, is again the same concept from breakthrough advertising, Brilliance Breakthrough, some of the geniuses that were born in 1950s, 1960s, Dan Kennedy, those people who pioneered the way, is to spend more time thinking like your target market, right? So you ask yourself, before you even write, you don't look at words, you think, what is a big idea? What are the overarching angles that steal my target market's attention, your target market's attention? What's going to make you, your offers, your brand unique in the marketplace right now? Why should you be the go-to choice for your prospective customers and clients in general? The whole point is to stop overanalyzing your own company, your own brand, your own offers for your clients, and change your line of thinking as you fulfill for yourself and clients. Do this from the lens of your target market. It's not easy to do this. It's a simplistic concept, but it's not easy. And the good news is this process can be formulaic, especially when you're just aiming for results, your bottom line income, your fulfillment level for your clients, building your track record, building the proper mindset, building the proper skill set, building the proper client attraction systems. And we're going really, really deep in this podcast episode. So we're just going to cover 3 steps for marketing and messaging diagnostics, mastering the big idea. So this is actually the how-to portion. So implementing everything I've just covered, it's you start with a couple steps, right? Step 1, before you write, you reverse back to just changing your line of thinking. And this is just in general, writing for yourself and for clients. So how and why do you stand out from your competition? You ask yourself these things. How can you communicate your best selling points as quickly, concisely, and as accurately as possible? How can you write attention-stealing copy that connects with your target market, right? You have to virtually obsess on figuring out how your target market thinks, feels, and views your business, your client's brand as a whole. So step 1, write down what makes you different from your competitors. Make a list of what makes your offers, your clients' offers, stand out from your point of view, and then make a separate list of what your audience wants to see from their point of view, and then gather social proof. This is forming a very powerful big idea that crystallizes your customer's mind. So case studies, testimonials, what you got. If you don't have the social proof, send out surveys, study similar competitors, go on Amazon if you need to. And then the second step for mastering a big idea is to scale back. Your target audience's buying decisions are based on emotion. This goes for your clientele as well. So obsessing over logic is going to shoot you in the foot. That's not the core essence of a amazing big idea, a control beating big idea, or a 6-figure freelancing career's big idea. It's not logical. Your copy, your big idea should motivate and guide your prospects toward the sale, because people are buying solutions to their problems, aren't they? And it's up to you to communicate that in a way that steals their attention quickly, isn't it? And that stands out from your sea of competition, both as a freelancer and both for marketing and selling yourself and marketing and selling your clients' stuff. Ultimately, this is, in a way, if you think about it, market research, it's not a sexy topic, but that's why it'll set you head and shoulders above the rest, because you're doing the unsexy stuff, right? Heavy lifting, doing it early on. So step 3 is asking yourself, right? You got these steps in line, and now you're about ready to write. Nope, you're about ready to crystallize a big idea by asking yourself, what overarching angles, what types of attention-stealing, emotionally jarring messages could I write that create a bond with my audience? And what kind of ways can I build emotional connection, emotionally jarring headlines that build trust and rapport, just in a way that can convert price shoppers or browsers into buyers? Ultimately, I wanted to start there, because rushing to the words isn't going to make you much better. I just covered this was just about, the mindset, the copywriting skill set, and also client attraction all in one. This is just one phase of a 3-phase system for becoming a 6-figure freelancer within 12 months or less. And while this is being built out into a very high level, very thorough training and mentorship program, I encourage you to still reach out. I still have space for one-on-one copywriting mentorship students every couple times per year, a few times per year. So even if there's not an opening now, which there are good chances there probably won't be for a few months, but just to see, if you just like to see what it'll look like as a copywriting student, you'll see what it'll look like if we'll work together by emailing copyblueprints@gmail.com. For now, this is all the time we really have to cover all of these things. But as you'll see as you play this episode again and listen to maybe my other podcast episode, visit my site, shoot me an email, you'll see how powerful all of this can be when this all comes together, starting off the bat. If you don't go off the strength of a big idea to market and sell yourself, to market and sell your clients through copy, then you're just going to become eventually a commodity copywriter, someone to hire, someone to fulfill, collect paychecks, have minimal control, be at the mercy of your clients, be at the mercy of ChatGPT, be at the mercy of negativity, the rat races. If you master big ideas, the way to market, sell, and write for yourself, market, sell, and write for your clients, you will have the skills to become a 6-figure freelancer within 12 months. And I can't guarantee you'll get these kind of results just by absorbing this information and implementing. You have to put the work in, right? But this concept is proven. Remember, the copywriter behind today's industry leaders. 1, it's extremely true. I've been called that over and over. 2, it attracts and repels a damaging admission for attracting ideal clientele to me all day long, like clockwork, and also demonstrates my skill to do it for them. And ideally, you can get to that level. Like I mentioned, most copywriters, it'll take them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years or more. The ones who work with me, usually within 3 months, we're banging out big ideas, hooks. I'll have them write, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'll spend 4 to 6 weeks writing bullet points and hooks, just training my students over and over on that to the point where they can just churn it out, where they'll get this, because the rest of your copy can start to essentially write itself when you can lay the groundwork, because this is all the heavy lifting done in advance, isn't it? So don't become a commodity. Don't get caught in the copywriter rat race. Become indispensable by starting here. Other than that, we'll catch you on future episodes. Don't feel shy to email copyblueprints@gmail.com. Just even to have a virtual cup of coffee or something like that. Thanks again for joining us. We enjoyed having you sit there right next to us in your virtual seat, and I hope the feeling was mutual. Don't forget to rate, share, and subscribe to the Authority Marketing Podcast. And if you'd like, check out some other episodes we've got. Stay tuned for our next one.